Hello, and welcome to the show, Wellness with Hypnosis. Now, this show is presented to you by the PATH Foundation. My name is Ed Martin, Dr. Ed Martin. The show, Wellness with Hypnosis, is a show that's designed and produced by the PATH Foundation, and the purpose of the show is to help people understand more about the powers of their own mind and the use of hypnosis to help accomplish some of those things that we can do with our own mind. Now, the mission of the PATH Foundation is to help people improve the quality and the length of their lives through the effective use of positive suggestion hypnosis. Now, we have a really interesting show for you today, and this show is about achieving wellness, and our guest is a gentleman named Ernest DeLuca. Now, Ernie is a civil engineer here in Texas, and he's been here for a number of years, and he's had some really interesting experiences. And so we're going to let him share with you, and we're going to talk to him about what he's accomplished and what some of the changes in his life are. Ernest, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, originally I'm from New England. I came down here about 23 years ago. I now live in Conroe, where I have a civil engineering practice.
Right.
And that's, like I said, I've been here about 23 years.
23 years. So you're almost a native Texan now.
Yeah, just about.
Or you are.
Close to it, right.
Really. One of the things you told me about, you said that the first time you came to see me was about 5 months ago.
Right.
And when you called to come in, you said that you had thought and heard that maybe hypnosis and hypnotherapy could help you overcome a fear. And you had a fear or an anxiety that was causing you to have extremely high blood pressure. And your fear was what you called white coat syndrome.
Right.
And you wanted to know if hypnosis could help you overcome that.
Right.
And so you did, right? And you came, and I remember after about the first 2 sessions, you started noticing that your blood pressure was coming down. And that not only was it coming down on a normal basis regularly during the daytime, but you said that it was also coming down when you went to see the doctor.
Right.
And that was the key. Now, we worked on a lot of different things. And do you remember that first time that you came?
Oh, yeah.
And
I sure do.
remember the anxiety that you were having? And you were anxious because, I guess, coming to the doctor or something like that. And you had called on your car phone, and you called 4 different times within probably a couple of miles from the office.
Oh, yes.
And the last time you called and said there's supposed to be a diamond shamrock there, and I can't see it. And you're only a block away, and it was behind the trees. Remember?
I didn't even realize how embarrassing it was at the time.
Do you remember what was happening in your mind, what you were thinking at the time?
I was basically panicking, not to the point of bewilderment, but I don't know, it was like flying off the handle mentally, you might say. I was just mad because I couldn't get to where I wanted right away, and for some reason that 5 minutes felt like an eternity. I mean, I just blew everything out of proportion. I just, you know, the importance of doing something out of proportion. I wasn't calm, I wasn't collected, and of course that's not in a very good position to be, particularly when you're driving. So.
Yeah, no, but that was something that happened to you regularly, wasn't it?
All the time. You know, this is what I was trying to. Well, this is not what I originally intended to take to.
The hypnosis for?
To take hypnosis for, but this was one of the things that was related to, you know, my anxiety syndrome.
Right. And what you found when we started talking and we started working with hypnosis was that the anxiety that you were experiencing from traffic and from all the other sources, that anxiety was literally triggering and causing your blood pressure to go up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question about it.
But the real thing that was really causing you the most problem of all was the fact that when you went to the doctor and you had what you call white coat syndrome, and when you went to the doctor, your blood pressure went out of sight.
And the downside of that was when it was high, of course, they figured the medicine wasn't working. They give you even stronger medicine. So I was being just literally drugged, you know, over-drugged to lower my blood pressure. And I knew it wasn't bad because I take my own pressure at home. And it was always good. But I'd go to the doctor, it was 40, 50 points higher. And it was just getting worse. I mean, it's like I just couldn't control it anymore. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how...
What you were doing, everything was getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Now, you had seen this in your family, though, hadn't you?
Oh, yes.
Your dad had high blood pressure?
Yes, my 2 brothers and my sister.
And your sister all have high blood pressure?
Yes, sir.
And it's a similar kind of thing? Now, you mentioned that this problem with the traffic and the anxiety that you felt from it, that I asked you if you'd ever encountered that before, and you said, "Oh yeah, your dad
Yes.
and your brother,
Mm-hmm.
and they both had the same attitude and the same way of dealing with traffic and with problems encountered, and so they created the same kind of anxiety." So, would you say that maybe you observed that and learned that as a child?
I'm positive of it.
You're positive? Okay.
Because they were the same way. They would, of course, verbally fly off the handle if they couldn't get to a certain place at a certain time, or they got their directions mixed up, whatever. It would just seem like it was a way of life for us. I don't know. So I just that it would definitely was a learned response. There's not any question about it.
Yeah, that's something that we call white coat syndrome, and we've experienced that a lot. I've worked with a number of people to overcome that and release it. And you started working on that same thing, and we used some techniques to release it and to free you from it. Now, what is your normal blood pressure now?
Right now, I'm probably, to start with, I mentioned that I'm probably on the lowest medication I can get for this particular medicine anyway, lowest dosage. And I record daily. I don't think I've, in the past 3 or 4 weeks, I think the average has been something like 110 over 60. It's fairly low.
110 over 60?
Yes.
Okay.
And
that's about where mine is, too. I keep mine that low.
it gets a little bit higher, for instance, if I do some physical exercise like swimming, whatever, or immediately after that it may be like 130 over 85, something like that, but then it immediately drops right after that, right after I'm quiescent for about half an hour or so.
How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of energy. And
you know, one of the things that I've heard is that when your blood pressure is low, that you lose vitality and energy. Have you done that?
well, it's kind of strange you mention it. The first week or so it felt like that, but it takes a while for your system to get up to a certain level. And once it's used to living on that particular pressure, then you reap all the benefits of it. I mean, that's the way I look at it anyway. And so I've got back all my vim, vigor, and vitality.
Another thing too, remember in the very first session or two when we were working on reducing your stress and letting go of all the tension and things, we gave you a signal, a post-hypnotic signal to relax when you were around water. And not only have you relaxed, you've gotten to the point where you carry water with you, you have a drink all the time, you know, of water.
That's another thing that you gave me a signal to drink a lot of water.
It wasn't really drink. It was just to be calm when you're around water. And so that signal we've used with a number of people, and we found that it's very effective because water's everywhere.
That's true. And anytime I pass a body of water, I can feel that. I pass over a pond or something like that. For some reason, and I'll catch myself thinking that, and it's, you know, this is relaxing, and then I catch myself thinking why it is relaxing, and it's because of the signal you gave me.
Now, but you said that your family has a history of it too. Your brother, your dad, your other brother, your sister has high blood pressure. They still have it, or
yes,
and it's harming their health.
There's no question about it. I mean, they're not the type of people that seek self-help or, you know, any kind of prophylaxis. They don't believe in it. They would just, you know, and you have to have a positive mental attitude in order to be able to deal with something like that.
Right.
And they just accept it.
Accept it as, you know, they're going to have it, and they're going to live with it or something like that.
And the more medicine, the better. And I'm not like that. I just don't, you know, I try to limit the amount of chemicals I take into my body. Let me put it that way.
Right. Well, you have done that, haven't you?
Well, to some degree, about as far as I can go with it, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you've changed it very dramatically, haven't you? What does your doctor say? What does he think?
Well, I haven't really discussed the hypnotherapy with him yet, but he is pleased. You know, of course, he thinks it's the medicine that's working.
Medicine's working, yeah. Even though it's down to 1/8 of what it was, or something like that.
Yeah. So he's pleased with it, and as a result, he just told me to stay on that and see him next year. You know, so.
Next year, once a year. Excellent, excellent. Well, that's really great. You know, what you've done is you've changed a lot of things in your life, and you've also increased the exercise, the swimming, and like you say, you do it every day, and it's something that's very important to you. What does your wife think?
Well, she sees a change in me quite a bit. You know, definitely. She notices I'm not hyper anymore like I used to be, and I'm able to deal with things a lot calmer. A lot of times she wouldn't tell me things just because she didn't want to upset me, but now she's got more bravado on that, and you know, she knows at least I can discuss them. And,
Excellent.
Another thing that's happened, of course, we talked about confrontation.
Right.
I don't really feel threatened anymore on a situation like that. I generally, if I have a problem, my attitude now is it's not going to get solved unless I do something. I mean, you know, I make a step, positive step, even if the other party won't. So it doesn't really bother me to confront somebody about a problem anymore.
Excellent.
I don't have. I mean, it's not to say there isn't a little bit of. You know, I wouldn't be anxious about it, but it's not to the degree where I would just try to sidestep it anymore. So.
In the past, confrontation caused the anxiety, and it would cause you to get so upset that you'd be upset for several days.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
It would be almost to the point where it'd be sickening, and my stomach would just be, you know, you could feel the acids and chemicals that's running through there, running rampant. You know? And it doesn't affect me like that anymore. You know, I might say I might get upset, but it's for maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe a half hour at the most, but it dissipates very, very quickly.
Excellent.
Compared to a long time ago when it didn't dissipate at all. So.
I know.
For more information about hypnosis, call our Birmingham number, 205-322-PATH. That's 205-322-7284.